I know, like, I get this a lot. There's so many zeolites on the market, like the sprays and the nose sprays and like the MLM products. I don't even want to name it. I don't remember the name of that one that everyone loves. And then your old Zeo Boost and now this. So I'm sure you have a lot to say because this is what you do. So can you please explain to the audience what the difference is between all of these?
Sure. Well, there's a lot of good zeolite products and there's a lot of not so good zeolite products, but it goes beyond quality. So for an effective zeolite detox, you need both the proper quality, you need the proper quantity, and you really need the proper qualifications. So the three Qs. So the first thing is the quality. A lot of the products on the market are not very good quality because zeolite is a mineral. There's many zeolite mines around the world and most of them, almost all of them, are for commercial use. So there's a few in the United States. Anyone can order the zeolite, then they can have it sent to a facility and crush it and whatever. That's what a lot of the products are, and you definitely don't want that in your body because it's highly contaminated
Mm.
with diesel and other contaminants, and it doesn't have the proper manufacturing process. So traditional zeolite is crushed using a milling process because zeolite, you can imagine it like a big rock. It's a mineral like a big stone. And then you have to make it into smaller, tiny particles for it to be effective for whatever the application may be. So the commercial process uses a mill, which is just crushes it. Now the problem with that is that it could crush the zeolite structure, making it ineffective. So what we use, and this is what the higher end zeolite companies will use as well, is micronization. So instead of a mill that crushes, micronization is a slicing motion. So it basically slices the zeolite particles, and then we can turn that zeolite rock into any particle size we want. So that's one of the things to look for. And of course, the cleaning is the third party testing. Is it remineralized after the cleaning? There's a lot of different variables for that. We take care of all that. But honestly, the best companies are all going to do that. So as long as you're working with a reputable company, you're probably going to have a good zeolite product or quality. So then you want to look at the qualification, and then we'll get to quantity, which is probably the most important. The qualification is basically what are you trying to use the zeolite for? We basically have two classifications of zeolite products on the market. We have the larger particle sized and the smaller particle sized. So the larger particle sized are generally the powders. So those are more traditional zeolite products, and they're just designed to be a gut binder. So they're larger, they stay in your gut, and they just bind to things in your gut. Fantastic. Then we have liquid zeolite products, which generally have taken that same powder and they've made it into a smaller particle size through that micronization process. And they market it as a nano zeolite or however they're marketing it. They're just smaller particle sizes, and they're marketing it for more of a whole body cellular detox or systemic detox. So it's getting throughout the body, and they're both good. So what we've done is and there's benefits to each one. What we've done is we've taken both and combined them into one product. So we've got a range of particle size going from the super small to the larger that will stay in the gut. So it's a more comprehensive detox.
And
So
this
that's
is
important.
the Zeo Boost you're talking about right now?
This is both. So we
Oh,
started out
okay.
with the Zeo Boost. Yep. So
Okay.
Zeo Boost, we had that as well.
Okay.
The difference with Zeocharge is that we basically just fine tuned the particle size arrangement. That's
Huh.
really the only difference between Zeo Boost and Zeocharge. It's the same source, zeolite, the same manufacturing process, the cleaning, the same quality, but we've basically determined that this new particle size arrangement is a little bit more effective. So basically, you're able to take a little bit less and get the same benefits as you were with Zeo Boost.
Okay, so
So,
if I can understand this correctly, you have the large, you have the small, but you have different variations of large and small. Is that
right,
what
it's all in between. So, for example, with
you
the
got it?
Zeo Boost is 0 micron, 0 point whatever microns two all the way up to 25, mostly microns, a little bit up to 40, but mostly 0 to 25. The new one is it's a little bit smaller even than the Zeo Boost and the zeros, and then it goes to only 12.
Oh.
So what we kind of discovered is that after 12, you might not need as much. So and the smaller the particle size is, the more surface area, so the more effective it is at binding anyway. So you want it to be smaller, it's just you don't want it to be too small. Because if you just have nano zeolite, that's these, nano sized, and you have toxic elements in your body that are bigger than the zeolite particle, how's the zeolite particle going to bind to it? So that's why we want a broad spectrum solution so we can bind to all the
Yeah.
toxic elements in our bodies because there's so many things we don't even know are in there that we want to remove. Plus, we have the combination. Some are going through the body for the cellular detox. The other ones are just staying in the gut for the digestive detox. And that does help reduce the detox symptoms associated with a lot of the liquid zeolite products.
Okay, let's dive into them now. So the liquid zeolite products, which are the ones most people ask me about, now that I'm learning this, it's smaller micron. So obviously they're binding this, I guess, the smaller sized toxins. So why would somebody have more detox symptoms? Is it, yeah, can you explain that a little more?
So, and I'll say one more thing about the liquids, and then I'll move on to the quantity of taken, so the dose needed, and that's going to determine basically the reaction that you experience. But with the liquids, and I think there's probably two reputable liquid brands on the market, and the rest I would never put in my body. I would never put any of them in my body, honestly, but the two at least are reputable. All the other ones I would almost consider scams. Because if you really look into it, basically they're taking pretty low quality zeolite powder and mixing it with a small amount of water and calling it liquid zeolite. So when I've reached out, their particle size in their nano zeolite is even larger than our powder. Oh. And you're getting just basically there's nothing in there. So one of the more popular zeolites on the market, liquids actually, offers 300 micrograms per serving. Which is less than 1 milligram. So 300 seems like a lot. Basically our one jar of this is our Zeocharge, our new product, offers 8,333.3 times the amount of actual zeolite. That is in one liquid zeolite product. So the problem is, and their product isn't even in any way better than this. That's the problem. So you're basically just wasting money at that point.
It's water.
If it's the only option, it may be helpful, it may not, but there's just no reason to use it. So there's a couple reputable, but I just don't recommend them primarily because even if you have a liquid zeolite that's a good quality, in my opinion, you can't get the dose needed for a proper detox. So that's what, we've talked before about therapeutic dose. Right. What's the dose needed to get the desired effect? So that's really the most important thing that I've discovered with zeolite is once you have quality, you need to have the right dose. Because even with the best zeolite product in the world, if you don't take enough, you're not going to get good results. So, and I have a document called the higher dose theory of zeolite that I developed that's going to be available on the website for view. And it just goes into detail on it's a very complicated subject. But basically, I discovered this theory. I developed the theory where taking a higher dose of zeolite is actually gentler on your body than taking a low dose, which is contradictory to what everyone else says.
Well, I struggled with the patients because they do it and sometimes they have a little bit, not many don't, but the ones that have reactions, their gut instinct is knee-jerk reaction. Lower the dose. And I'm like, no, higher. So I'm glad you made that because sometimes I have to send them to you because I feel like they don't believe me. So I'm glad that you have that on the website because I can just send them to the website. Yeah,
it's just more info and it's been helping people. So for example, just the last couple of weeks, I've been working with a few extreme cases, the incredibly sensitive individuals with the methylation issues and the mold toxicity and all that. One actually bought ZeoBoost 2 years ago, has been holding it, afraid to take it. She called me 2 weeks ago and wanted to try it. And she thought she was going to die from taking it. So I said, well, don't take it if you think you're going to, don't do anything like that. But I explained the dose theory and I told her you should take 12 teaspoons, one dose. And she said, no, I can't do that because she mentioned, she's taking a Sia 1 drop, Nox, all these products, she takes 1 drop and she can't even function at all. I said, well, why don't you try 12 teaspoons and let me know? She takes 12 teaspoons, calls me the next day, could not even believe it. She felt 0 reaction.
Oh, nice.
And she's been on it now for 2 weeks, taking 12.
At 12?
Yeah.
Do you anticipate she'll be able to go back down to a normal dose?
Yeah, that's the goal. So we actually have a program with the Zeocharge called the Ultimate Zeolite Experience, where you start with 6 tablespoons. So it's actually 18 teaspoons, 6 tablespoons per day. You do that for 1 month. The next month you do 5 tablespoons, 4, 3, 2. So it's a 5-month program. You start high, work your way down, just because the sicker you are, the higher the dose you need. And then the healthier you become, the less you need. So let me quickly explain.
The sicker you are, the more you need.
And I know so far no one believes me. I haven't been very convincing. So let me just explain a little bit of the theory behind it. So with most supplements, yes, you want to start with a low dose, work your way up. right, low and slow, that's great. But zeolite works in a different way. So what you have to consider, because detox is a very complicated process. So basically, when you take any detox supplement as powerful as zeolite, it's going to stir things up in your body. When you stir things up in your body and your body can't handle the extra toxins that were just pushed into circulation, that's when you get a detox reaction or a detox symptom. It's basically a sign that your body is not able to handle the additional toxic stress that was just added to your body. So a lot of people say just power through it. It's just normal. It means the protocol is working. In my opinion, it's the opposite. It means your body is actually being stressed out and you don't want to continue with it, at least long term, because you know you're putting stress on your body. So here's basically the theory. When you need to take a large enough dose of zeolite to bind all of the toxins that are currently in circulation, along with any of the toxins that are going to be added to circulation as you stir things up during the detox process, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it does.
So if you take a small amount, what happens is you go in, you stir things up, and you've only removed a tiny bit from
Like releasing your
circulation.
army, but you have
Yes,
other things that are being liberated from the enemy, and you just
exactly.
want to really get
Yep,
that first shot because you have that first shot to really hit them hard and just hit them hard right from the beginning.
yep,
Yeah.
yep. Because if you just take a little, you've taken a little bit out, but you've added more to it. So you actually can become more toxic as you detox.
Oh,
And then in turn, not only are you dumping more toxins into circulation, they then redistribute, find a new home. You could be worse off than before, but that also lowers your body's natural detox capacity, just your body's natural ability to detox, because you've added stress to your body. And now your body has to handle that stress, so it's not going to focus on detoxing.
yeah, it's
So
yeah.
what people don't really realize is most detox protocols and supplements actually make you more toxic, even if you take them long term. So it's all about the dose you have to basically get to, and the dose is going to be different for everyone. A perfectly healthy person might only need to take a tablespoon a day or even less. They're fine. When you're not, you're going to have to take
And
that
I've
higher
seen
dose.
this on the
Yeah.
hair test when these
Yeah.
metals go up. And I've always
Yes.
wondered about that because I know, like, the theory is they're actually being liberated and pushed into the soft tissue, but that sounds like what you're kind of saying. You know,
Right. What you with the yeah, you do want the metals, you want movement. So with the fact that they're moving up is when I do the testing, what I look at is the trend of both the vitamin minerals and the metals. So you want the metals to either go up or down. If they're going up, it means that you had deeply stored metals that are now being liberated from their storage unit, and now they're being excreted, which is good. But then you want to look at the mineral and vitamin status to make sure that it's not being negatively affected. Because even if you're moving the metals, it's possible that even if you're not feeling symptoms, you could still be having a stressful internal experience. So
exactly.
if you're getting improvement, especially in vitamin status, if you're doing vitamin test, whatever testing you're doing, you can do liver testing, whatever. If you're getting improvement, it means your body's actually reducing its stress load while you're detoxing, which most people don't even think is really possible, but it is. I'll tell you that. It's more difficult, but that can be achieved, and that's the ideal situation. And if you can get there, you're going to detox much faster because you're never going to detox at a pace that your body doesn't want you to detox at.
Right.
That's another thing. No matter what you take, no matter how strong the binder or chelator is, if your body does not want to release that metal, it's not going to let go. Now, the product